It's episode 1500 of Shakesyear. Can you believe 1500 of these? 1500 of these, 1500 days. I've logged in and made a video, and 1500 days you've logged in and watched a video. That's kind of incredible. It's okay if you've missed a few here and there. I forgive you. You can always go back and watch them later. But anyway, that's a big deal that I've made it to 1500 episodes of this, and there's going to be a special bonus video posted after this one gets posted, so keep an eye out for that. But in the meantime, let's actually do an episode. We are working on Troilus and Cressida, and we get to hear from Agamemnon today. Agamemnon having such a great name. We are in Act 2, Scene 3, Troilus and Cressida. The stuff that's going on, Hector has issued a challenge to whatever Grecian soldier wants to fight him, in part because Hector's getting bored, and maybe also to try to settle some stuff. The Trojans were discussing amongst themselves whether or not they should just give Helen back to the Greeks and thus end this whole thing, but they finally landed on no, because that would be bad for everybody's reputations. So in Act 2, Scene 3, we started out, yesterday we got to hear from Thersites, who was just being mean and grumpy and wishing that everyone everywhere would get syphilis. And then some other people came in, Patroclus came in looking for Achilles, or no, Patroclus wasn't looking for Achilles. Some of the other people were looking for Achilles, and they and Thersites got into, battles of words where they're just being mean to one another. Thersites finally leaves. Agamemnon, Ulysses, Nestor, a whole bunch come in. They're looking for Achilles as well. Patroclus goes to get Achilles and then comes back out. Oh, and there was a little side conversation where Ulysses and Nestor talked about the fact that Ajax seemed a little bit out of sorts, and they attribute that to the fact that Achilles has stolen his servant in Thersites. So Patroclus comes back out and says, yeah, Achilles doesn't want to come out and talk to you. And Agamemnon says, hear you, Patroclus. We are too well acquainted with these answers, but his evasion, winged thus swift with scorn, cannot outfly our apprehensions. Much attribute he hath, and much the reason why we ascribe it to him. Yet all his virtues, not virtuously of his own part beheld, do in our eyes begin to lose their gloss. Yea, and like fair fruit in an unwholesome dish, are like to rot untasted. Go and tell him, we came to speak with him. And you shall not sin if you do say we think him overproud and under honest, in self-assumption greater than in the note of judgment, and worthier than himself. Here tends the savage strangeness he puts on, disguise the holy strength of their command, and underwrite in an observing kind his humorous predominance. Yea, watch his pettish lines, his ebbs, his flows, as if the passage and whole carriage of this action rode on his tide. Go tell him this, and add that if he overhold his price so much, will none of him, but let him, like an engine not portable, lie under this report. Bring action hither, this cannot go to war. A stirring dwarf we do allowance give before a sleeping giant. Tell him so. So what Agamemnon is doing here is trying to put Achilles in his place through Patroclus. What he's saying is, yes, Achilles has a good reputation, and probably rightfully so, but he has blown up his own ego way beyond its true value. He thinks way too much of himself, and he's like, the people that are out here asking to talk to him, asking him to come out of his tent so that we can talk to him, we are better than him, we have higher ranks than him, and he's refusing to come and talk to us? No, that's not okay. And if he's going to continue being this, petty, peevish, obnoxious guy who thinks that his you-know-what doesn't stink, then never mind. He can leave, and we'll go on and fight the war without him, because we're not buying into his whole game anymore. And Patroclus is like, I'll go tell him that. And Agamemnon's like, Ulysses, go with, because he's not going to take it from Patroclus. So Ulysses goes inside, and meanwhile Agamemnon and Ajax have a little conversation where Ajax is like, really, like Achilles is that good? And Agamemnon's like, yeah. And he's like, well, is he better than me? Oh no, you're equal. So, because remember, the challenge that Hector issued to the Greeks, they were going to set it up so that Ajax wins the lottery and goes out to fight, hoping in part that that would knock Achilles a little bit off of his pedestal, knock him off of his high horse a little bit. So Agamemnon is starting to lay the groundwork of building Ajax up so that when his name is drawn from the lottery, he'll happily go and fight as hard as he possibly can. So they do that for a minute, and then Ulysses comes back outside and he's like, yeah, Achilles isn't going to go, he's not coming out. He's not coming out to talk to us today. And Agamemnon is like, what on earth is his reasoning? And Ulysses is like, it's stupid. It's stupid reasoning. It's tiny little things that he's blown up into great big dramatic, he's basically saying that Achilles is being a drama queen sitting in his tent and doesn't want to come out because of stupid reasons. And Agamemnon's like, really? And Ulysses is going to expound on that a little bit more in his monologue tomorrow. So I will see you then for that, for episode 1501, which isn't as exciting as episode 1500. Episode 1500. Mwah. See you tomorrow.